to Six Figure Coaches with Luke Charlton, where every week we interview a successful coach and break down their business. We take you behind the scenes in their marketing, advertising, and sales campaigns. We show you what's working. We show you their frameworks, their proven strategies, so you can implement them in your business to grow. Now let's bring on this week's guest. Here is your host, Luke Charlton. Hey, this is Luke Charlton here, and welcome back to the Six Figure Coaches Show. Very excited to have you here and very excited to bring on today's guest. I'm super excited actually because we're going to be talking about a topic or a strategy to get clients that a lot of coaches, I know a lot of coaches are always interested in this topic, and that is writing your own book. Well, my guest today has a way to get your own book done without writing one single word. So we're going to dive into that. So I'll say that again, get your own book done without writing a single word. So I'll bring him on in just one moment. But before I do, if you would like to be featured on the Six Figure Coaches Show, if you're earning over $250K per year or above, and you'd like to be promoted on this show, all you have to do is go to podcast.lukecharlton.com, podcast.lukecharlton.com. You go through there, go through the kind of application process, and you can literally book yourself in, and we can be chatting and on this show and promoting you. So go to podcast.lukecharlton.com if you want to be on the show. With that being said, let me bring on today's guest. I've got his bio here. So he serves business experts and thought leaders to create, as I said, a book without writing a word. He's an Amazon #1 best-selling author and America's foremost author on credibility marketing. And he teaches you how to establish and market your credibility to gain more clients. Okay, so I'm super excited to bring on today's guest, Michael DeLon. Michael, welcome to the Six Figure Coaches Show.
Hey, Luke, thanks for having me, man. It's going to be a fun conversation. I'm really grateful to be here.
Yes, I cannot wait. As I said, I'm looking forward to this book strategy because, I mean, having your own book, it's such a key thing. You talk about credibility, right? When I was going through your bio,
yeah,
everyone wants a book because of that credibility factor, especially if you can get it to like a best-selling status. It just instantly says, to the prospect, oh, this person's an expert. They've written a book on it, especially if it's gone to bestseller. It's like that, as I said, instant credibility raises that level of trust, and it makes it so much easier to convert them in the sales process. So that's why I'm excited. It's one of the benefits of having your own book. There are many other benefits which we can chat about. But before we get there, can you just give a bit of background to the coaches listening in, how you actually got to where you are right now, like helping others write their own book?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you my whole story, Luke. It's going to take about 3 minutes. Okay, so listen fast.
Yeah. Okay,
so first of all, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. I've been married 33 years, and my wife and I got married in 1990. First 5 years of our marriage were like this, and we just fought because even though she and I both grew up in church, nobody ever taught us to be married. Yeah. And so after 5 years of conflict, we went to a marriage conference through a ministry called Family Life, and we sat in a ballroom with 1,000 people. They taught us God's blueprints for marriage. I didn't know he had any. And so we grabbed his blueprints. We started applying them. Our marriage grew over the 90s. We had 2 kids at that time. I was in Christian radio sales. Okay, so I was trying to sell you Christian radio, Luke. And I learned after 2 years, nobody wants to buy Christian radio. They want to sell their products and services. So I had a decision. Look, I could either become really good at selling and learn all the techniques and strategies, or I could become really good at marketing. So I chose marketing. I bought the books, went to the conferences, followed the gurus. I learned how to do marketing for small business owners. So my business grew through the 90s as I helped my clients grow.
Yep.
Fast forward to the end of the 90s. We left the Christian radio station, went to a startup.com back when Amazon was just getting started. My friend started something, so I was working for them for about 2 years. That company was ahead of its time, which, look, that means it went bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I found myself in my living room one day looking up at the ceiling going, God, what am I supposed to do now? Yeah. And he kind of spoke to my heart. He says, Michael, I want you to ministry to families, and I want you at Family Life, that ministry that changed our life, right? And I said, well, okay. So we were missionaries, so we raised support for 2 years, moved from Indiana down to Little Rock, Arkansas, which was their world headquarters, and started serving with them. I thought I hit nirvana. Why would I ever leave? Oh, my goodness. Yep. Well, climbed the corporate ladder. 6 years later, I'm on the leadership team of that ministry. And then they start going through corporate reorganizations. And after the third reorganizational chart comes out, my name is no longer on the leadership team. And so they start shuffling me around the ministry to do all kinds of things. That was the beginning, Luke, of a 2-year, I call it a prison term, because I was in a job I hated at a ministry I loved. Yeah. So after 2 years of just hating life, I talked to my wife. I prayed. I said, God, I got to get out of this place. And he says, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go help small business owners with marketing because they struggle with it, but I love it. And he said, go. So on January 1st of 2013, I escaped from prison and started a marketing consulting firm. I'd call you on the phone, Luke. I'd say, hey, I can help you grow your business. You'd meet with me. We'd have a great conversation. Somewhere in that conversation, you say, now, Michael, what have you done in the last few years? Who have you helped? And I say, well, I've helped build marriages and families at Family Life. And you say, Michael, that's honorable. Way to go. Oh, look at the time. I've got another meeting, so let's reschedule. And you'd usher me out the door because you saw me as a ministry guy, not a marketing guy. So I wasn't getting any clients, Luke, and I knew I had to fix that. So I went back to my church one day, paced the hallways on the second floor, just crying out to God, saying, Lord, God, how do I help Luke? Because I know I can. And God gave me this idea to take all of my strategies and put them in a book. So I did. So in 2013, I published my first book on marketing. Then I would call you, Luke. I'd set an appointment. I'd mail a copy of my book to you. A week later, I'd walk into your office for our meeting, and there it was. My book was on your desk, dog-eared, highlighted, underlined. You'd read my book. And in that meeting, you'd say, now, Michael, in your book, you said, how do you help me do that? And you'd hire me. And the next guy hired me. I started gaining clients. And I thought, okay, wait, this is really cool. Why don't business owners do this for marketing? Well, I don't know if you've written a book yet or not, Luke, but it's challenging. I mean, there's a lot to it. So I went back to my church and I sat down in a Sunday school room and I built a spreadsheet that listed every step it took me to create that book. And we eliminated every one of the barriers for business owners and created a company that today is Paperback Expert, where we work with experts and thought leaders to create a book without writing a word. And then we teach them how to use their book in their marketing to attract ideal clients, grow their business, get referrals, and love life. So that's how I got to doing what I do.
Done. Okay, awesome. Now, before we get into books, because I really want to sell books because I'm a big believer in them. And to answer your question, yes, I have written a book before. It's actually a funny story. So back in 2000, I started my business in 2013, and I struggled for a couple of years and trying all these different strategies. And I finally found this LinkedIn strategy where basically I had like this bit of software that would invite, connect with people, then it would invite them to my group, all on autopilot. And then one of the things with the group back then is you could send one email out per week, and that email would go directly to their main inbox, not the social tab or spam, like right to their main inbox. And so I wrote I got clients from it, and I was teaching other people, and I wrote a whole book on this. And it took me a few months to write that. And I kid you not, like uploaded it to Amazon. No joke, the day before that we're going to hit live and go launch, start promoting it, LinkedIn changed their whole platform overnight, and it rendered that whole strategy totally like obsolete, basically. So that book that I wrote was totally useless. So a lesson in writing books: make sure it's evergreen when you write a book. Absolutely. That's something you don't have to update. So that was my first foray into writing a book, and I haven't written one since. I've done many courses, which is basically writing a book. It's like because with my courses I write them all out. Like I have short videos, but my process is all written out. So that's like writing a book, but other than that, no, not really. But that's definitely something that I want to do. I have one that I want to create probably this year or next year. But anyway, my what I was trying to get to is let's just sell some of the benefits of having your own book. I mentioned before, like that instant credibility is a huge one. You mentioned in your story, like educating your market on your methodology before you actually speak to them. I think that's a massive one as well. So you mentioned it gets you clients, like it's a good lead generator. Any other benefits that you see there to writing your own book?
We could be here for all day long talking about that. Yeah, it does that because here's the deal, Mark or Luke. Marketing effects take place in the mind of your audience. It's how do they think of you? Okay, and that's what changed in my world. When you got a copy of my book, when I mailed it to you, you instantly thought of me as an expert because experts have books. Well, in our world today with coaches, right? Well, there are like how many millions of coaches out there? Everybody's a coach. They all look like coffee beans. I love coffee, Luke, but if you pour coffee beans on your table in front of you, they look the same, they smell the same.
Yeah.
And if you're a coach and your LinkedIn profile, your website, your message sounds like and looks like everybody else, you're not giving me a reason to lean in and listen to you. So a book does, number one, it differentiates you from everybody else. And then it gives people an opportunity to have a very casual conversation with you as they're reading your book, but you're not there. And here's one of the biggest problems I see in most businesses, especially coaches. If you go to their website, Luke, the first call to action, the primary call to action is book a consultation with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am so sorry. I am not ready to do that yet. I want to know who you are and are we a good fit? Give me an opportunity to download your book, to watch a video series, to get to know you so that I'm preconditioned to hire you before I schedule that call. And when we get on that call, it's not a first call, Luke. It's about a third call because you have spent so much time with me. I'm just not there.
Yeah.
Those are the values, the principles that you really need to think about. A book is a book is a book unless you know how to use it to gain clients. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the other benefits that I think is very underrated, and you don't really experience this until you go through it. Like, I love writing, and the reason why is it helps give you a lot of clarity, right? And so when you're writing a book, obviously you're putting your methodology in that, your system, whatever that is. And so to get that out on paper and think through it and, plan it out, and because you understand it, but when you start trying to teach other people how your system works, that's when your level of understanding has to go to another level. Right. You actually, what's that term like, if you really want to know your subject, you want to start teaching it, and you'll actually learn it at a deeper level by teaching it because you get that clarity. And that's one of the hugely underrated benefits of having your own book, is that you actually become a much better coach and actually get better results for your clients because you understand, oh, this is why I do it this way versus this way, and blah, 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 blah. So clarity, I think, is a huge benefit.
It absolutely is. And it's really funny because in our process, we actually, you don't write your book, you speak it, because we have writers who interview you. Yeah. Same thing happens though, because you're talking out your process and we're asking clarifying questions because we don't really understand your industry. And we're like, well, what about that? And you're going, oh, so we help you communicate your message in a simpler form because I don't know about you, like I tend to be the king of complexity, right? And it's like all of my coaches say, no, DeLon, shrink it, simplify it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, we all do that, right? We always start with something complex, and then we have to like simplify it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And so, but just talking it out or writing it out just helps that the brain waves look at it, and then you can get it out in front of you, and then you can kind of wrestle with it and say, does that really make sense? And so.
Cool. Okay, so in a second, we'll dive into like, okay, what do you recommend like people put in their book to help guide people through that? It's almost like a sales conversation in a way. Like, you can introduce yourself, and you talk about your methodology. There might be a call to action at the end. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a second, on what elements you think go well in a book, like a marketing book. Before we do that, can you just give like a high level overview of, let's pretend I have the book. What does it look like to then get clients with it? Like, is it just an opt-in, or do you actually get them, like, advise people print it off and physically send it? I'm sure there's a lot of different strategies you can do with it, but is there any kind of one or two key strategies that you recommend that when someone has their book that they use to get clients?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's both, by the way. I'm a huge fan of print. Okay. Cool. I don't know. I can't tell you how many ebooks I have on my computer, or probably where they are.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah.
But I know where my physical books are, because a book has shelf life.
Right.
When you sign a book and mail it to somebody, they're keeping it. They don't throw it away. So here's what I do. The first thing I would recommend is put it on your website or a landing page, right? Get a free copy of my book. You are not going to get rich selling your book on Amazon. Okay. Just get that out of your mind. If you're a coach or something, that is not the play. You're on Amazon and Kindle for credibility purposes, but you really want people to get it from you. Because if they buy your book on Amazon, you get a few dollars. Who cares? Yeah. I want them to get it from my landing page, from my website. So get it there, capture their name and email, give them the e-copy quickly. Thank you pages there. Thanks so much for downloading a copy of my book. It'll be in your inbox in just a couple of minutes. If you'd like, I'd love to mail you a free copy of the hard version because you might want to underline it, dog ear, highlight it, keep it around for a little bit, use it as a resource. If you'll just tell me where to send it, I will put it in the mail today and you'll have it in a couple of days. It won't cost you a penny. What we have found, Luke, is 50% of the people who opt in to the ebook opt in for the physical book.
Wow.
Now I've got an asset because I don't have just a name. I have address and phone number, so I can do direct mail to them, which we'll talk about in a minute. And so now I mail my book out to them, right? Well, do I just stick it in a brown envelope? Well, you could do that, or you could follow our strategies and put it into a nice box that welcomes them into your world with a signed note and everything, so that when it arrives, it's an experience. Well, now they're in your funnel. Right? You should have a follow-up email sequence, preferably with some video of you explaining what they're going to be experiencing. So I tell coaches and things, say, mail your book in a big gold envelope. Right? And let the people know, hey, Luke, I'm going to mail my book out. It's going to come in a big gold envelope. So when you go to the mailbox and you open up in that big gold envelope's there, you're going to know the book's there. It's going to be super exciting. Then in your follow-up sequence, you say, hey, that big gold envelope, when it arrives, open it up and turn to chapter 3, because chapter 3 is where we talk about boom. And then you do a little email or a video on chapter 3, right? It's sequential, it's consistent, and it builds anticipation. Because when they open the box or the mailbox and they see that big gold envelope, guess who they immediately think of? You. Oh, I can't wait. That's what you want to do in your marketing. You want to show up like nobody else is. And it's not that expensive to do. It takes a little bit of thought and strategy.
Yeah, I love that. So let me just walk through the funnel. So basically they opt in for the free book. And then on the thank you page, you pitch the paid version, and do they cover shipping?
No. I recommend you cover everything. Now that's just a personal philosophy.
Right.
Okay. Because we've all seen the free plus shipping, which is good, but we're not Russell Brunson. We don't have the back end that he has built with coaching and masterminds and all that stuff where he really, really makes his money. You can do free plus shipping if you like. I recommend you don't. I recommend you give it away because you want to have a philosophy in your business of give. I'm a resource, because that's where you're going to get them to reciprocate and start moving toward you, because you're not a salesperson.
So basically, so what is that, like how much does it cost to print and send it out to them, like $10 for you, or what's that cost?
Oh, I mean, so for the client, if you have your own book, you're mailing the book. The book itself is $5, and the mailing is probably about $4.50, depending on where you mail. I can think in the United States, so about $10.
$10. Okay, cool. Now, do you have upsells after that? After they,
we don't for our clients, because again, it's a philosophy. I'm trying to build credibility. I'm trying to position you as the expert who doesn't need their business.
Okay. But I'm just trying to, for the coaches that are listening in, I'm trying to understand, like, the people that are taking this offer, are they already clients, or are they just cold leads that are coming through?
They're just leads. Like maybe you met somebody at a networking event. Maybe you're doing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, whatever you're doing. And they're hitting your landing page, right? And they're opting in. Hopefully your ads are good enough that you're targeting ideal prospects. So whoever hits that landing page should be an ideal prospect. The question is, what are you willing to invest to gain a client?
Well, that's it. So the reason I'm asking all these questions is for the coach listening, right? So basically what you're doing is you're taking a $10 loss, but because you have your system in place with the follow-up, right? And you know your numbers, you know that $10 loss or the $10 book is part of the acquisition process, right? So let's say, you send out a $10, but in the next 30 days, it's going to turn into one client or whatever, right? So the point is, your numbers. And that's what I want to really just point out for the coaches listening in. A strategy like this is great. You have to know your numbers though, right? You have to have the system set up where, okay, I'm spending $10 to, it's almost like spending $10 on ads, right? So the money's going out, they go down your sequence, then from there they can book a call, and then that's when the money comes back in. Okay. So I like it.
And a couple things there versus $10 on ads, right? You spend $10 on ads, it's done. You invest $10 and mail a book, you get You get three things, really. You get their name and information on your list so that when LinkedIn changes everything, you still own that person. That's huge. That's number one asset in business is your list. Number two, you've now put an asset into their hands that is going to be a resource because we don't throw books away. So you're around, and that plays into the fact that, Luke, 97% of the people in any market at any time are not in the market to buy today. They're researching. My question is, are you focused on only that 3%? Because the money is made in that long tail because they may buy in 3 months or a year from now. Are you going to be there?
Hey, guess funny story. Just before this interview, I signed up a new client. Guess how long she's been following me for?
Oh,
8 years.
I was going to say 5 years. Yeah.
8 years. Yeah.
Years.
Yeah. And the one before, so actually, sorry, I signed 2 today, which is pretty cool. The one before that was 1.5 years. Yeah.
So important that people hear that.
Yeah.
Because we are so conditioned to, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. No, well, no, you don't. You really need to nurture and stay in front of the leads you have because guess what? They were ready and you have been there and they know, like, and trust you. And so now they're ready. Let's go.
Absolutely.
That is excellent, Luke.
And that person is, what I love about it, because I have a system where we speak to like kind of quite cold leads that don't know me too much, but then there's also a lot of people come from my email list as well, like the 2 today. And the ones that have been read my content, been educated by me, those are so much easier to sign up and at higher price points than the cold ones. And they're much better clients too, because they already kind of know you. They resonate with your personality as well. That's another reason why I like the following up. And I think that's another benefit for your book, right? Because if they've read your whole book, they get to know you.
Exactly.
And resonate with you. So they become like your best clients.
Well, they do, because how often, seriously, when you get a book from somebody you really like and resonate, how often is it that you only read it one time?
Yeah, exactly.
Diving in over and over and that's exactly what you want. Because I would imagine, Luke, on those 2 people today, you didn't think that was a sales call.
No, it was really quick. Yeah. I didn't even go through my regular sales script. I was just, because they kind of knew me, I was just like, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, I can help you. Here's the plan. And they're just like, yep, let's kind of go. So,
yeah. So why don't we set that as the model and say, how do we replicate that to happen more often instead of saying, how do I get more leads this month?
Yeah.
No, let's see how we can build that into the process. So everybody we talk with is preconditioned, just like they were. Brilliant, Luke.
Yeah, cool. I like that. I never thought of selling the physical on the thank you page of after they opted in, but it makes sense, right? Yeah, cool. All right. So I love that strategy. Simple. And I teach the same thing, like, to my coaches, not with the book part, but just opt in, email follow-up, and just start with that, because most people are not ready to just keep it simple. You don't need a complex funnel or anything like that. But yeah, if you have a book, that would be a great lead generator. Now, actually, that's what I want to talk about, because when I help coaches like create a lead magnet, right, just a free guide, they've usually done it before, but it's just got them like low quality leads because they haven't named it the right way. And this is where the marketing comes in, right? And it's just attracted the wrong person. So my question to you is naming is, I mean, I know the answer to this, but the naming of the book, how important is that?
Yeah, pretty critical. Because it goes back to one of my number one marketing principles is to have an absolute crystal clear message.
Yeah.
Okay. It is more important what you say than where you say it. Okay. Here's what happens with coaches, or it really doesn't matter the industry. Your message isn't clear and compelling. You are focused a lot on you. I've spent 38 years in business. I've done this. I've done this. And you know what? I don't care. I want to know what's in it for me. And you've got to have a compelling title, but that title should be consistent with all of your messaging. Okay. If you Google my name and you look at my LinkedIn, my Facebook, my website, my anything, it is always create your book without writing a word.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Okay. That is my crystal clear message that resonates with my ideal client.
Yep.
Do you have a message that clear? Because if you don't, you're wasting money on all these channels. Change the message and your marketing is going to work a whole lot better. So yes, it does matter, but that book title needs to really be consistent with your overall message of who you are and what you do for your client.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a big thing that I see coaches struggle with, is they come up with very kind of like fluffy language for whatever type of thing that they're promoting often. And it is no examples are coming right now, but it doesn't, because it's not clear, because it's flowery and fluffy language. Ambiguous is the right word.
Yes, there you
ambiguous go. People, your dream client doesn't actually know what's for them, so it kind of just goes. We're bombarded with thousands and thousands of marketing messages literally every day, and so if your message is not totally clear, and that doesn't mean you have to. It doesn't mean you have to be a great copy. Like what I say with copywriting, a lot of it is just being able to communicate clearly. Like what problem are you actually solving? And this is where we forget that we're actually speaking to a market. As you said, we're so in love with our product and our service and our own credibility that we're talking here and all the features of our thing. And we forget that we're actually speaking to a market and solving like a core problem for them. And we're not speaking clearly to like, yes, I can help you solve that problem before we start talking about our actual service or our product, right? So the clarity comes in just like, let's just keep it simple and like, what's the actual problem that you're solving with this book? I think that's a good way to get the clarity, is you actually go to the market. It's nothing to do with, that's all copywriting is. You just go to the market, you find out what they want, what they're struggling with, and you just speak right to that. Yeah, I can help you with that problem. That's all.
Absolutely. And a lot of times using their words. They will tell
exactly.
you.
It's all using their words. It's all using their words.
Oh, there you go.
Sometimes they'll overtly tell you like whatever it is in a Facebook group or on a conversation with them. Sometimes just from doing research, you get to know the market, and there's a lot of non-verbal communication, like uncommunicated desires that they have that you just kind of learn over time of what they actually want, based on your observation. But most of it is just they will literally, I'm struggling to get dates. I'm overweight and I've tried every diet and I want to lose weight and I don't want to have to give up my favorite food, whatever, So they will often literally like give you the words, and you just copy that. You just give that back to them, right? That's all copywriting is. It's
That's
how
to become the world's best copywriters. Listen to your audience.
Yeah, exactly right. Okay, cool. So when it comes to the actual book, now you mentioned like how you do it without writing a word. You just mentioned before you interview them, right? So, but in terms of like the content of the book, so the question I often get, because I teach email, is like, how long does the email have to be? And my answer to that is, well, however long it needs to be to tell the story of whatever it is that you're telling. Like that's how long it needs to be. So number one is, how long does the book need to be, if there is any length? And number two is like, what's the structure generally of a good client attraction book?
Yeah, that's great. And books come in different varieties based on what you're trying to make happen. So our books are they're full custom books. They're about 150 pages. Sorry, this is a great book. It's not a brochure, but it's not War and Peace either, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you want, because I think you need enough real estate to truly say it's not a lead generation book. Okay. They're out. You can do a lead gen book that's, 12 pages or so. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a true book. And what you want to do is number one, start with your story. Make sure your story is in chapter 1 or 2, because there's a story behind, Luke, why are you doing what you're doing? And the more you tell that story, the more people are going to connect and bond with you. So start there. And then the rest of the book is, many times it's kind of your process of how you work with clients, bullet points of why you structure it this way, the struggles your ideal clients have, stories of how you've helped people. Stories carry the day in a book. Okay? Making sure you have stories of how you've helped people, because as your reader is reading this book, you want them to insert themselves into that book. Oh, yeah, that's me. Oh, I'm struggling. Oh, right. And you want their head to be nodding. So you're just, what are your top 10 or 15 frequently asked questions or challenges that you're hearing your audience? There's 15 chapters of your book.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be that simple.
Yeah.
And then you tie it up. You could put QR codes in the chapters to link back to videos that you have on your website to dive deeper. There's all kinds of ways. What I don't recommend is that it becomes a sales letter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now because that's not what this book is about. It's about bonding, building credibility, and helping people understand you are somebody who knows what you're talking about. I like you. I'm ready to take the next step.
Mm.
That's what it's all about. And then, well, we can talk about referrals later, but you talk about getting referrals. A book is a phenomenal way, but that's
Yeah,
kind
it
of the
is. Yeah.
structure of the book.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll get into referrals because I don't, yeah, anyway, I talk because it is an amazing thing to get referrals with. Now, one thing that you touched on was the story in the beginning, and this is like for me the most critical part when you're, you said it's not a sales book, but it is a sales book in that you're selling them on your methodology. That's really important that they buy into the methodology. That's for me, that's the most critical. Whenever I think about a sales message, or for a coach, the most critical part of that is in the first instance is selling them on why they should be doing this particular methodology, because if they're not sold on the why, they're not going to even worry about the how. So that's number one. And I'm always thinking about different angles or whatever to simpler ways to talk about why I think my method is the best and best method versus everyone else. I'm always thinking about the why. But what I loved about what you mentioned is starting with your story, because often your personal story, like how you what you were struggling with and how you came up with and developed the system, like your aha moments and why you do it, that story, that will instill the why in the client or the prospect reading, right? Because that's the why. That's why you do what you do. So often your actual, as I said, the personal story is the actual best thing to start with, because it does instill that why.
It does. Yeah. And what I find is most coaches aren't telling their story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the first thing that we talk with one of our clients about is why do you do what you do? Tell me your story. Okay. Case in point, real quick. It's not a coach. He's an attorney. Okay. Whatever. He's down in Florida, and he started working with us, and he's he's in a big market with two big dogs who are spending like $100,000 a month in marketing. And my guy's the little guy. Right. And I said, what's your story? Why do you live in Florida? He's like, well, I came here for college to go on a baseball scholarship. I was heading towards the pros as a pitcher. I said, great. Yeah. Why aren't you there? He's like, second year of college, I threw my arm out, had to get major rehabilitation surgery, all that, killed my baseball career, killed my scholarship, went back, finished school, became an attorney, a personal injury attorney. So he helps people who get in accidents and cars, right? And I said, really? Have you ever told anybody that story? And he's like, no. I said, we're going to. So we created his book. We got his story. We wove it in there. We created his book. And he's a personal injury attorney, okay? His book is When Life Throws You a Curveball.
Yeah, yeah. Cool.
What to do after you've been in a serious accident. And we tell his story of him saying, life threw me a curveball. I wasn't expecting it. I went through all this stuff. If life has thrown you a curveball, if you've been hit by a truck or bit by a dog, I understand because I've been there. Let me walk with you through this process.
Yeah.
Changed everything about his message.
Yeah.
But I didn't create that message. I discovered it. Every coach listening to you, Luke, has a story like that that they should be telling that will make their offer so much more compelling to their ideal audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I'm doing that every day in my emails basically, but I'll also do a workshop, like a live workshop to my email list. And I tell that story every single time of like why I don't do complex funnels, because I did that and I tried and I bogged me down and I failed and I wasted a lot of time and money. And I realized I could just get clients by just like a simple, opt in and then email follow up. And so that's what I do now. And that's what I teach to coaches. You don't need anything complex anyway, the point is I tell my story continually, because that's the why. And once they get sold on that and they go, oh yeah, that's me, right? I'm doing the complex stuff.
Yeah.
So I love it. All right. So that's the structure. So you got the story, the steps, and then do you have a call to action at the end of the book? To book a call?
A lot of times the call to action is either call us, go to our website or something, because it's again this is a step-by-step process, and we never know when they're ready, but we always have your website, your office, and thing always to go to the next step. And we're doing more and more throughout the book, little QR codes and things to go to webinars or whatever, to be interactive. But the call to action really is, hey, if you've resonated with these stories, if you find yourself in this situation or give us a call. Let's have a 15-minute conversation to see if we're able to help you. and then you go. And I'm a big fan, Luke, of like 15-minute conversations
Yeah,
because
me
they're a
too.
lower barrier.
Yeah,
And
I do
from
too.
the 15, I can go to a longer one.
Yeah,
But
I do the two-step as well. I think it's way better. And you can give them what I like about it is you can also it builds the relationship and you can give them homework in between the calls as well.
absolutely,
Okay, watch this.
absolutely,
Yeah, because if you just book a one call and you say, "Can you watch this homework before the call?" Like they usually don't do it, but after they've spoken to you, they're much more. Yeah, I'll do it. And I'll watch it, and they watch it.
That's
So
right.
it's especially for coaches that aren't great at selling, that's a much easier sales process.
And you're positioning yourself more like a doctor or an
Yeah,
attorney that you
exactly
walk
right.
in, you get the physical, come back in a week or two, I'll give you the results.
Yeah.
That's the positioning in the mind that you want to be with because you're not begging for the business.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
It also saves time because you don't end up spending like an hour with a person that couldn't invest. You know?
I can talk to 4 people in an hour instead of 1.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
If
exactly.
I'm efficient, right?
Cool. All right. So let's talk about referrals. Now, I've known that books. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to write my book about like using it as a referral strategy. So there's this guy that I came across named Steve Gordon. I don't know if you've heard of him. He has a book called 10x Referrals, and basically it's all about why you should write a book to generate referrals and basically you sit down with a client and go, okay, you've got great results with me. Who do you know that I could I could gift my book to? And you just literally like you could go through their LinkedIn contacts or go through their Facebook contacts or whatever, phone contacts, Rolodex, and just get a list of names and you just literally send it to those people as a gift, and then you follow up from there after you've sent it to them. So that's one example of like, again, it's all about leading with value, right? So instead of with a typical referral where you're saying, who do you know that wants my services, basically is what the referral, like who do you know that needs help? And the person goes, well, I know all these business owners or I know these people, but I don't know if they need help. I don't know if they need to lose weight or they want to lose weight. So I'm a bit hesitant to actually connect you to. So that's the biggest barrier of a referral is like that people know people, but they don't know if they need help. And that's where the barrier is. So that's why I like a book. It helps you just lead with value. You feel better and the person, your client feels better and the person receiving feels great as well.
Absolutely. No, that's a great strategy. On the heels of that, as you finish work, all right, so right now, all right, you just got 2 new clients. They're really excited. Guess what they're going to be doing in the next week, Luke? They're going to be telling all their buddies and friends, hey, I just joined this new program. And that would be a great time for you to have 3 or 4 or 5 books in their hands to say, hey, when you're talking to people about our program and the excitement you have, would you do me a favor and just hand them a copy of my book or mail it to them? That would mean so much to me. Yeah. And then throughout the process, as you get, clients coming back to you and say, Luke, man, I followed your strategy. It worked. I got 3 new clients this week and it's amazing. John, that's phenomenal. Would you do me a favor? Sure.
Yeah.
Would you, if I mail you a couple, 3 books, would you mail them out in the next few weeks as you're talking to all of your buddies and just say, dude, this is the book of the guy that taught me this. He's amazing. You should read his book.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That takes it to the whole next level of what you just talked about. What you just talked about is like step 1, but it's still kind of awkward. Look, okay, can we look at all of your, this is like no brainer. Absolutely. Take the book. This guy's amazing. You should read his book.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we teach there. And then think about centers of influence. Who already has your client? Okay. And building relationships with them and having them have copies of your book in their office or wherever that they could give to their clients to come to you.
Well, if you're giving it away for free, couldn't you just let's say it's a client, right, who's gotten great results or they've just signed up for the program. You could send your book, if they don't already have it, send your book to them as a gift. But then you could also say, look, here's a special private link just for you. If you know of any other coaches that would also love this book, go to this link and put in their like address details. And basically it won't charge you. I'll pay for it and it'll go straight to them. So could you not do something like that so they don't have to physically send it?
You could, and that would work, right? Here's a strategy that takes that to the next level. Again, this is all about credibility, and yes, it costs you money. Okay, get over free. Is you work with them. So look, let's just say you're one of my clients and you're going to be a referral source, right? We do what I call an endorsed mailing. So what it does is I give you, let's say, a dozen of my books. and they're in an envelope, a nice envelope. I pay for the postage, and you've written a letter that says, "Hey, John, I bet you're wondering why I'm mailing you a book from Michael DeLon. Let me tell you, Michael's been a dear friend of mine, and he's really helped me grow my business, and I thought that you might enjoy reading his book. When you're done reading his book, if you want a conversation with me, that'd be phenomenal. I'd love to share with you how he has really helped me gain more clarity and grow my business. But I'd really recommend after you read his book, you just book a short call with Michael. Tell him you're my friend, and I think you're really going to like who he is." Because now that is coming from you in the mail. It's a gift from you with a nice letter that's pre-written. It takes you like 5 minutes. I'll pay for the postage, Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm happy to pay for that because you're putting me in front of one of your best people, and you're transferring your trust to them, and they're going, that just takes it to an all new level. But what happens is coaches go, "Yeah, but that costs a lot of money." How much is a client worth to you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's structuring things and doing things differently so that you show up differently than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So this is all like once someone's comes to you and gets the book created, you teach them all of these specific strategies. Is that correct?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay,
we got a 1-year coaching program, group coaching that's built into our program.
Okay, perfect.
So it's not extra and all, it's just built in because we know having a book is great, but if you don't know how to use it to generate revenue, it's a doorstop. So we teach our clients that, and we back it up with a 2-year double your money back guarantee because we know it works.
Yeah, cool. All right. So final question, Michael, and then we'll wrap up. So final question is, and this is what I ask all of our guests. You're standing at the top of a mountain, and there's thousands of coaches below you, and you can only shout them one message to become successful. What is that message?
Be yourself. And here's what I mean by that. Okay. We've talked a lot about message and story and all that. For a number of years, look, I did not do video because I didn't have a nice studio. I didn't have the right lighting or the right microphone and all that. I didn't dress nice. So I didn't think I could show up the right way. And I finally realized that that's not what's important. What's important is that I show up like me. And that if you resonate with me, great, let's do some business together. Let's talk. But if this bothers you, then go away because this is me. This is what you get. That changed everything for me, Luke. I come into my office every day, fired up, ready to serve people because I can just be me. People resonate with my story. We have great conversations, and it just works. So be yourself, whether that's in a book, on video, in email, doesn't matter. Be yourself.
Cool. Love it. All right. So where can the coaches listening in go to learn more about what it is that you do?
Now, paperbackexpert.com. That's our website. It's the center of all things Michael. We've got free resources there, free videos. You can find out about our funnel. You can schedule an appointment, whatever you want to do. Paperbackexpert.com.
Cool. All right. Head over to paperbackexpert.com. So once again, Michael, thanks for coming on and giving up your time. This is a lot of value in this interview. So I appreciate you coming on and giving up your time and sharing your knowledge and your expertise and your insights for me and the coaches listening in. So with that being said, for everyone listening in, thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. See you later.